Hey there, friends and followers. In this week's video, we'll be breaking down the top 8 things to keep in mind when selecting a real estate brokerage. Now, if you're new to the profession or looking to get into it and trying to figure this next step out, then you'll definitely want to stay tuned in. So yes, as always, welcome back. So if you're going through the process of, or just finished getting licensed to become a real estate professional, one of the first steps towards taking action is selecting a brokerage in which to partner with. With numerous different brokerages now being available to a given individual, it's important to understand certain things that you need to be aware of when selecting, and more importantly, why you should be so selective. With that being said, let's jump right in. So first up is going to be the split. Now, most brokerages have a split, meaning that when you close a transaction, a certain part of the commission goes to you and a certain amount goes to the brokerage, which is how most brokerages operate. To give you an example, some brokerages are 70-30 or 80-20. To go one step further, in addition to the split brokerages, there is also 100% brokerages or flat fee shops, meaning that you get 100% of the commission after paying a one-time flat fee to that brokerage. Now, while the second option does sound great, one thing to keep in mind is that with less money returning back to the brokerage, there's generally very little in return that the brokerage is able to offer you in the form of any incentives or value. This, of course, being separate from any team structure that you look to join with any given brokerage as well. Item number 2 is going to be the cap. Now, not every brokerage offers this, but essentially what the cap is, for example, if you're on one of those 80-20 splits and your cap is $10,000, when that 20% that goes into the brokerage exceeds that $10,000, you're going to cap, and your 80-20 split now changes to you receiving 100% of the commission for the rest of that annual year based on any given anniversary date that you have. Now, this is something that you're going to want to definitely be mindful of, as some brokerages do not even offer a cap, meaning that once you start to build your business and work deals, you are in turn leaving a ton of money on the table. Next up, number 3 is going to be fees. Now, these brokerage fees can come in different shapes and sizes in the form of monthly, transactional, or with a new given listing. One thing to stay mindful of in this category is that sometimes traditional brokerages will rely on their brand name and typically will have higher fees as they are leveraging for that branding. Also, you'll want to know what is included in these fees. For example, things like websites, business cards, signs, CRMs, and any given trainings that the brokerage will offer. As you can tell, the cost of doing business can certainly start to add up. Number 4 is additional income opportunities. Now, this is certainly an important one to look at. A number of brokerages nowadays are now offering these opportunities in the form of revenue share, profit share, or any sort of residual income. As an entrepreneur, first and foremost, you'll want to be mindful of getting compensated as much as possible. For example, if you can be at one brokerage and make a certain amount doing something, but yet be at another and make more for doing that same thing, wouldn't it certainly make sense to be at that second brokerage? Number 5, ownership. Now, this is a concept that has really taken off with modern brokerages in the form of being able to gain ownership in the form of stocks. As the timeless comparison of renting versus owning goes, being able to build equity in a property, or in this instance, a business, often makes more sense in owning more of your business versus renting it. Number 6 is going to be training. Now, this is a big one, finding out what type of training is available. Now, most of the time, brokerages have traditional training, and that's about it. In this day and age, it's important to have a leg up on tech, social media, and digital advertising as key to your business. Now, these trainings can be especially crucial for a new agent who doesn't have a sphere, or perhaps moved into a new area and doesn't know anybody. The most effective way to build a sphere of influence is by leveraging these modern technologies, which in some cases you have to pay for if not offered, which then adds in another cost versus a brokerage that could have had that training available to you. Or in some cases with brokerage, the training is coming from an individual who hasn't actually sold real estate in some time, thus creating a further disadvantage to you. Number 7 is going to be support. Now, this is certainly a unique criteria. In most traditional brokerages, there is one broker that can only give a certain amount of time in any given day. And when you have an individual taking on the responsibility of, say, new agent onboarding, compliance, training, marketing, and transaction review, it's really difficult to get that individual to give you undivided attention. That is why a lot tend to struggle, as they're not getting the actual help that they need. And lastly, number 8 is going to be culture. Now, this one ties directly into the last one, and it is important as you're going to want to be able to have access to the tools and strategies that you can implement to help build your business. Various things like events, weekly mastermind calls, or being able to pick the brain of your colleagues are a great way to not only keep motivated, but also build your brand. To give some perspective, in some cases when you join traditional brokerages, top producers can be intimidated by new and hungry individuals, thus creating some hesitation in sharing information and strategies, as you are now seen as competition. especially if you are operating in the same market, which then is a direct effect on the culture within the brokerage. Well, there you have it, friends. That is 8 things to keep top of mind if considering a position in the real estate industry is something for you on the table now or maybe in the future. As always, hopefully you were able to take a little bit of value away from this information. If you have any questions on anything contained within, feel free to drop a comment below or reach out to me directly. As always, be sure to slide on over the page and give it a like and subscribe to stay up to date when great videos like this are released about real estate and everything in between. Thanks for tuning in, checking out the videos, and we'll catch you guys on the next.